It's a risky thing to say, here, go talk. But I never felt 1 second of hesitation when Jan came to me and said that God had given her something that needed to be shared. And now I know why. And that's spot on. I feel like we're done with the preaching and we'll sing a closing song and we'll just go on. Maybe not. Maybe I'll share a little bit more. So in our series, we're working through what we call Springlife. And today's is an invitation to discipleship. Now, it's kind of funny to me the way Janet opened her story, because she said, walk with me back on this journey. And that's exactly how I have it worded today. That let's take a journey with Jesus. But turn your mind back with me, if you will, to a time where Jesus was walking on the shores of Galilee. And not far from the seaside city of Capernaum, there's a crowd gathered around the shore. And they're waiting to hear what the teacher is going to say. And sitting there, they can hear the waves crashing onto the shore. A rocky, what people up north would call a shore. We would call it a lousy beach. But above all of that noise, above all of the noise of the people fishing and pulling in their nets, here we find Jesus teaching. And in his teaching, that is not very, very widely documented what he's teaching on, we see the fishermen who can just barely hear what Jesus is talking about. I would invite you today to put yourself in that crowd, to try to decide where you fit in that crowd. Do you fit where the fishermen, a little bit off in the distance, you can kind of hear what's going on, but don't really get involved or know what's there? Or are you part of the crowd that's just following along and not really sure where you're going or what's happening, but you want to be part of whatever's going on? Or do you find yourself in the shoes of Jesus, taking the gospel wherever it would be delivered? See, today, when we think about this, we don't have to ask, where is it that we fit in? Because we know that we fit in. What we have to do is be ready to be involved wherever he would have us be involved. Our target verses today are Luke chapter 5, verses 1 through 11. If you want to turn there with your digital source or your paper source, or you want to read over the shoulder of the person in front of you, whatever the case may be. See, I see people looking around already over here. You got it yet? Or you can just follow along up here, which might be easier for you today. One day, as Jesus was standing by the lake of... I mess that up every time. Pastor Dennis? I get this wrong every time. Do you want to say it for me correctly? I hope he struggles with it too, to be honest. Good. Did what he said. That's why I did that. I put him on the spot. That's not fair. The people were crowding around him and listening to the word of God. He saw at the water's edge 2 boats left there by fishermen who were washing their nets. He got into one of the boats, the one that belonged to Simon, and asked him to put out a little from shore. Then he sat down and taught the people from the boat. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into the deep water and let down the nets for a catch." Simon answered, "Master, we've worked hard all night and we haven't caught anything. But because you say so, I'll let the nets down." When they had done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. So they signaled their partners in the other boat to come and help them. And they came and filled both boats so full that they began to sink. When Simon Peter saw this, he fell at Jesus' knees and said, "Go away from me, Lord. I am a sinful man." For he and all his companions were astonished at the catch of fish they had taken. and so were James and John, the sons of Zebedee, Simon's partners. Then Jesus said to Simon, "Don't be afraid. From now on, we will fish for people." So they pulled their boats up on shore, left everything, and followed him. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for your word. We thank you for the example that Jesus gives us here today. Lord, as we take in these 11 verses, we ask that you would guide our thoughts, that you would focus our attention directly on the word and what you have to say through it. Lord, in everything, we ask that you would receive glory from not only our hearing of the word, but our actions that result from it. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen. So, here we encounter a classic story of Jesus calling the first disciples. And typically, when we would talk about this, we would talk about throwing everything aside and abandoning all things and bringing them to the pastor and giving them to him and then go out and give the message. No, not a single person caught that. All right. We're going to want to listen here because there might be some of that thrown in here. So today we're going to look at it just a little bit different because I want you to see some key points that you might have missed in the past. First, look at how Peter, well, Simon in this story is later called Peter. Look how he reacts instantly to Jesus. Now, he didn't know him at all. But when Jesus told him to do something, he said, "Sure." And when he said to do something else, put your net back in. And remember, the nets were already cleaned. They were already tied up. They were already put aside. This was going to increase the workload greatly. When Jesus said, "Put the nets in," he gave his excuse. And then he said, "Master, because you say so, I'll do it again." He didn't know him, and yet he reacted immediately with "Master." See, when Jesus calls us to do something, that should be our immediate reaction. That whatever it is, "Master, because you say so, I will do it." You never know what that's going to be. Maybe it's just simple talking to everybody here at church, where there's a bunch of people that love you and will respect whatever it is that you have to say. But maybe it's at the coffee hour of your club. Or maybe it's at the restaurant that you go to after church. You never know where God's going to ask you to speak up. But we have to always be prepared to say yes. What I found to be true and what I believe you'll find to be true is that when you listen to what God would have you do, you'll never be embarrassed. Oh, people may laugh and they may throw things at you. All right. So only me. That only happens to me, that people laugh and throw things. Okay. So they may do that. That may be the reaction of the people that you talk to. But it's okay. Because what you're sharing is the most valuable thing in the world. The eternity with God. Anything short of that is just a waste of time. Notice here that when Simon is called, he puts his boat in his net and he leaves it on the side. And he goes immediately and follows Jesus. See, sometimes we want to look at this and we want to find ourselves at a particular point in the crowd. Maybe it's just me. Let me take a little bit of a poll here. How many of you would say in this story you most identify with Jesus? You've got a lot to say and people ought to be listening to you. One or two of you. Okay. What about, do you find yourself as part of the crowd, the people that just follow along and want to hear what's going on? Yeah, a few of you should put your hand up, because I know who you are. And then there's a few of you who stand way off in the distance, minding your own business, doing your own thing, but you're paying attention just in case something happens that you might want to be involved in. And I see some of you holding somebody's hand down, preventing them from putting their hand up, just in case. See, we want to find ourselves in that place where the message is being heard and we're close enough to hear what Jesus is saying. But then we also want to be just far enough away that we don't get trapped into doing something we didn't really want to do. We say just far enough away. Maybe because you're terrified we might put you in the church band with 15 students and send you to Indiana. Could happen. I see a lot of hands going down now. Then there's this group of people who actually pays very little attention. And then there's people who pay so much attention they know what's going on. And typically there's that group in the middle. They don't want to be involved, but they want to know everything that's going on. And the majority of people fall into this category. Just stay just far enough away that nobody asks you to do anything, but just close enough that if something's going on, you know about it. And this is something that Pastor Rebecca calls the nosy neighbor syndrome. This is the person who always has their blinds pulled about this far apart. They know everybody's business in the whole neighborhood. They can tell you anything you want to know about anybody that's... They know when the lady down the road's cats had kittens, mostly because they want one. And they can tell you when somebody is not doing something that they should have been doing, or doing something that they shouldn't have been doing. They can always tell you that. And the majority of Christians fall into that category. Just close enough to know what's going on. Jesus desires that all of us would follow him. And then not just follow him in a way that we can tell what's going on, but follow him in a way that we get to enjoy part of the journey of discipleship. See, Christianity is largely considered about a single decision. But I would tell you today that it's not just one decision. It's not just one prayer. It's not just one moment. It's a lifetime of continuous decisions that are a journey towards knowing Christ better and better each day. This is discipleship. It doesn't have to be harder than that. For the most part, when we talk about discipleship, everybody's, I don't want to hear about that. Another Bible study. Discipleship is following along with Jesus where he might have you go. I've found in my life that to be the most exciting journey that I've ever been on. I've done some crazy stuff in my life, and I didn't necessarily realize that maybe I had done too many crazy things until yesterday, a conversation that Pastor Rebecca and I were having. I'm going to share this just briefly with you. So, yesterday, if you didn't look on the back side of this wall, there's a stack of chairs. And those chairs are kind of scarily stacked. And Ian and I were working on getting them dressed up and looking pretty for you this morning. And Pastor Rebecca was standing off to the side. She had a ladder, and Ian and I were standing up on the chairs. And the chair began to crumble underneath me. I'm standing on a stack of, I don't know, it was probably 7 or 8 high, and it started to fall. And I cried out to the ladder. And Rebecca was doing something else, and she didn't immediately get the ladder to me. And I'll confess in front of everybody, I've already apologized to her, so you don't need to say, oh, poor Rebecca. But I yelled at her a little bit, because she wasn't right away with the ladder. And her response later that day, after we were back on regular speaking terms again, was, she said, "You do so many crazy things. I had no idea you needed me there to rescue you." It didn't seem odd to her at all that I was standing on a stack of 7 chairs that was about to fall. That wasn't her fault. I've displayed that I've done a lot of crazy things in my life, and she just accepts that I either had an idea of how they might fall and how I might land, and that was okay by me. So she didn't think she had to rescue you. And then what we find in this story is that the fishermen are kind of like that. They're rough and they're rugged. They didn't want to get trapped into this story that Jesus was telling. But as soon as he came and called out to them to live a life of discipleship, to walk along this journey, they were on board. They They weren't necessarily interested in following him. So Jesus went to them. Let me just catch you up there if you missed it. There may be a lot of people in your life that aren't necessarily interested in following Jesus, and it's our job to take him to them. Come on. I'll try this again. So you're going to run into many people in your life that need Jesus. Dare I say, everybody you meet needs Jesus. And you might be the only person to intersect Jesus' life with their life. And it's your job. She doesn't want me to say it again. It's our job to bring Jesus wherever we go. Jesus isn't meant to be pushed off into the corner until it's time for him to talk. We're not to be silent, waiting for the right opportunity. When God calls us to speak, he means now. When he calls us to go and do something, he kind of means now. He doesn't mean when you get done with whatever it is you're doing that you deem more important than what I'm calling you to do, then you go do what I've asked. Jesus demands that we participate immediately with what he's called us to do. So if you don't mind me kicking you in the shins this morning, if you don't go do what Jesus has called you to do, you have participated actively in sin. Can we make that leap together? No? That's too much of a leap for you? Okay, so when Moses comes down off the mountain and he has these tablets and one of them says, do not steal, and the first thing you do is go pick up something that's somebody else's, and you go, well, I don't think that meant for me. That was okay, right? I can take whatever I want. No. These commandments were for all of us. Now today we have a new covenant, and in that new covenant, Jesus speaks directly to us, and he tells us what we should do. They don't carry any less weight than the ones carved in stone. When he's called us to do something, it's our duty, our job, and our privilege to do it. And Jesus invites the disciples to come and follow him. This isn't a 1-minute discussion. It's not, well, let's say a prayer together and then you're off on your own to figure it out. He says, come and follow him on a lifelong journey. You know, the goal of discipleship is to expand the kingdom by our gifts and our abilities. I know from getting to know many of you that you have unique gifts that are valuable to the church. And without your specific gifts, that segment of the ministry of the church doesn't get done. When we hide our gifts or our abilities, we take away from the whole body. It's not just the church that suffers, it's everyone in the congregation. And if the congregation suffers by you not using your gifts or abilities, guess what also happens? The neighborhood suffers from not having your gifts and your abilities. Our ability to reach others for Christ suffers when you don't use all of your abilities. Now the fishermen, they were rugged and they were tough, and their ability that they were bringing immediately to Jesus was that they were bringing some physical protection. Jesus didn't really need the physical protection, but they needed to feel valuable. Some of our gifts and abilities are fairly simple and meant to make us feel immediately valuable. See, if we don't use that simple gift, then we lose that value. And we begin to feel like maybe our job and or what we bring to the table isn't as valuable as what this other person. We begin to compare our abilities and our gifts. And the Bible strictly calls against this. Instead, we should all be thoroughly thrilled with what God has blessed us with. Because each of us have been gifted with something that is only for us and to be shared with the group. Because each of us brings what is needed to the body. When Jesus calls them to come and walk with him on the journey, he's foreshadowing for the disciples what it's going to be like to follow him in discipleship. That he would call them over and over and over again to do crazy things that were going to seem perfectly normal after they did them. Things like grabbing a basket with just a couple pieces of bread and a couple pieces of fish and feeding thousands of people. These are crazy things that Jesus asked them to do. But in faith, they walked beside him and they watched these things happen. It was this lifelong journey with Jesus that caused them to believe that when he was buried, there was a chance that he would also be raised. And it's that discipleship that allowed them to serve in a great way after his resurrection. If they had just built on their prior performances, they would have quit. Just like they were ready to quit the day they were fishing. Oh, they've worked all night and haven't caught anything. But now Jesus says, put the net in the water again. They did it. And they caught more than 2 boats could bring it to shore. You know, the fish didn't just all of a sudden move and jump into the net. The fish didn't jump in the boat. Anybody ever been fishing and watched fish jump in the boat? I saw it on YouTube. Yeah, I know. The reality is it doesn't happen. You have to put the net in. You have to put it in or the results don't come out. If we look at our past failures and try to see where that's going to hinder us in the future, we will miss how God wants to bless in the present. We have to turn to him and let it go. Whatever it is that's in the past that's keeping you from doing whatever it is that God's calling you to do, if you've asked for forgiveness and he has granted forgiveness and you've turned from your ways, then you are prepared to let it go. If you're still holding on to it, you're missing the point. If God's forgiven it, why are you holding on to it? There's absolutely no reason to answer that question in any other way than I have let go of it. I know that in this crowd there's many people who have many deep hurts from things that have happened in the past. Some of them self-inflicted, some of them no fault of your own. But the reality is that if you turn it over to God, you have to let it go. Or you're no good to the future walk that Jesus would have you be on in your discipleship journey. Today, I want to remind you that he knows that you're over there, off on the side, washing your nets, not really paying attention or listening. And he wants to speak directly to you. That what he has for you is much greater than whatever it is that you're chasing instead of him. That no matter what it is that you think you're going to obtain by doing whatever it is that you're doing that he's called you not to do, it's better when you stop doing it. Whatever the habit is, whatever the hobby that's controlling your time, whatever it is in your schedule that you need to carve out so that you can take your own discipleship and make it important, whatever that thing or person or belief is or habit, I encourage you today to drop it, to put it aside, to walk away from it, and walk towards the discipleship that Jesus is calling you to. I can guarantee you, money back guarantee here, people, whatever God's calling you to will be much better than what he's calling you from. Every time. Whatever it is you're looking at today and saying, I can't live my life without that, I promise you, you can. Last year, about this time, we deleted Facebook off of Pastor Rebecca's phone. It was one of those moments where she looked at me and she said, "This is controlling my life." She said, "I can't delete this off my phone. Would you do it for me?" Of course, I was kind of tired of her looking at the phone, so I deleted it real fast before she changed her mind. But the point is, sometimes you've got to be willing to let other people help you with what you need to let go of. Discipleship isn't a one-on-one kind of thing for the most part. It requires many of us working together for a common goal of reaching each other as far for Christ as we possibly can. Growing that relationship takes time. If we're willing to put in the time, there's much more available there than you can ever imagine. Remember that Peter was just an unschooled, rough-necked fisherman when Jesus called him. He, by his own admission, said, "Lord, go away from me, I'm a sinful man." But the journey of following Jesus was a long process of building his character by following Christ, by watching him form his character and making us into his image. That doesn't happen unless you're close to him. You can't love God from a distance. It doesn't work as a second relationship. Instead, he desires for you to walk hand in hand with him, to journey with him down the road. Today, I have no other way to state this, but to say it just very bluntly. If anything is in the way of you following Christ, get rid of it. If anything is hampering you from studying your Bible and knowing his Word, get rid of it. If anything is stopping you from an active prayer life, that you can know that God hears you and wants to be a part of your life, get rid of it. Whatever it is that's in the way, I promise you, you don't need it near as much as you need him all in all. Today, my warning for you is get rid of what gets in the way. And sometimes those are going to be hard decisions, but they'll be well worth it. Would you pray with me? Father, today, we know that the words that you've given have been kind of tough, a bit abrasive maybe. But Lord, we know that you love us, and it's your love that calls us out. It's your love and your desire to live with us for eternity that calls us to walk away from things that get in the way of you. Lord, we love you. As we effort to show you how much we love you, we ask that you would help us to put aside those things that would hinder the relationship. To walk so close to you that whatever you touch, we touch also. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.